Collectible.
Collectible.
Shop selling antiques and collectibles.
Collect call.
Collect call.
Collected.
Collected.
She wanted to arrive feeling cool, calm and collected.
The collected works of Shakespeare.
Collection.
Collection.
A stamp collection.
My record collection.
A collection of Japanese vases.
A collection of empty wine bottles on the back porch.
Every Christmas we have a collection for a local charity.
We'll be taking up a collection at the end of tonight's service.
A debt collection agency.
A computerized data collection system. Garbage collections are made every Tuesday morning.
Please collect your purchases from the customer collection point.
Donna Karen's new spring collection. Donna Karen's new spring collection. A new collection of Frost's poetry.
There was an interesting collection of people at the wedding.
Collection box.
Collection box.
Collection plate.
Collection plate.
Collective.
Collective.
A collective decision made by all board members.
Our collective responsibility for the environment.
Collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining.
Collective farm.
Collective farm.
Collectively.
Collectively.
All members of the cabinet are collectively responsible for decisions taken.
Rain, snow and hail are collectively known as precipitation. Collective noun.
Collective noun.
Collectivism.
Collectivism.
Collectivize.
Collectivize.
Collector.
Collector.
A stamp collector.
The painting was bought by a private collector.
Collector's item.
Collector's item.
The dolls are real collector's items.
Colleen.
Colleen.
College.
College.
A teacher training college.
Donna left school and went to art college.
The London College of Fashion.
We were great friends when we were at college.
Some people who want to go to college still can't get there.
Fran just finished her freshman year in college.
A decline in the number of college students studying history. College graduates. A college education. College campuses.
Trinity College, Cambridge.
The American College of Surgeons.
College boards.
College boards.
Collegian.
Collegian.
Collegiate.
Collegiate.
Collegiate sports.
Collide.
Collide.
A car and a van collided on the motorway.
I ran around the corner and almost collided with Mrs. Lawrence.
Two trains collided head-on.
The president has again collided with Congress over his budget plans.
Istanbul, where East and West collide.
Collider. Collider.
Collider.
Collie.
Collie.
Collier.
Collier.
Colliery.
Colliery.
Collision.
Collision.
The school bus was involved in a collision with the truck. 2 people were killed in a head-on collision on Highway 218.
A collision between the two countries over fishing rights.
The two nations are on a collision course that could lead to war. An asteroid on a collision course with Earth.
Collocate.
Collocate.
Enigmatic collocates with smile.
Collocation.
Collocation.
Commit a crime is a typical collocation in English.
Colloquial.
Colloquial.
Colloquialism.
Colloquialism.
Colloquium.
Colloquium.
Colloquy.
Colloquy.
Collude.
Collude.
Several customs officials have been accused of colluding with drug traffickers.
She knew about the plan and colluded in it.
Collusion.
Collusion.
Collywobbles.
Collywobbles.
Cologne.
Cologne.
Colon.
Colon.
Colonel.
Colonel.
Colonial.
Colonial.
The struggle against colonial rule.
Britain was the largest colonial power.
A large colonial house.
The town was first established in colonial times.
Colonialism.
Colonialism.
A legacy of European colonialism.
Colonialist.
Colonialist.
Colonialist attitudes.
Colonic.
Colonic.
Colonic irrigation. Colonic irrigation.
Colonist.
Colonist.
The colonists struggled through their first winter.
Colonize.
Colonize.
A dead tree that has been colonized by ants.
Colonnade.
Colonnade.
Colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy.
Colony.
Colony.
Algeria was formerly a French colony.
An artist's colony.
A leper colony.
A seal colony.
Breeding colonies of rare birds. Colour.
Color.
Color me amazed, says prize winner Angela Harris.
Coloration.
Coloration.
Coloratura.
Coloratura.
Colorize.
Colorize.
Color guard.
Color guard.
Color line.
Color line.
Colossal.
Colossal.
A colossal statue of the king.
The whole holiday was a colossal waste of money.
Colossus.
Colossus.
An intellectual colossus like Leonardo.
Color.
Color.
What colour dress did you buy?
What colour are his eyes? The pens come in a wide range of colours.
I love wearing bright colours.
The walls were a lovely reddish-brown color.
Bright, bold accessories are the quickest way to add colour to a room. Bright, bold accessories are the quickest way to add colour to a room. The wine was almost pink in colour. In summer, the gardens are a blaze of colour. A splash of colour. The sky began to slowly change colour.
The fall colors.
Everyone has a right to a job, regardless of their race, sex, or colour.
People of all colors.
The continuing battle against colour prejudice.
I'm the only person of color in my class.
Wash the garments separately as the colour may run. Jams that contain no artificial colours or preservatives. Jams that contain no artificial colours or preservatives. Jams that contain no artificial colours or preservatives. Our new range of eyeshadows and lip colours. All the recipes in the book are illustrated in full colour. You look a lot better today. At least you've got a bit of colour now.
One of the girls giggled nervously as colour flooded her cheeks. He stared at her, the colour draining from his face. The old market is lively, full of colour and activity. A travel writer in search of local colour.
Intelligent use of metaphors can add colour to your writing. Intelligent use of metaphors can add colour to your writing. We have new evidence that lends colour to the accusation of fraud. A cap in the team colours.
Australia's national colours are gold and green. If I didn't colour my hair, I'd be totally grey.
Colour the icing with a little green food colouring.
Sunset came and coloured the sky a brilliant red. Sunset came and coloured the sky a brilliant red. On the back page is a picture for your child to colour in.
She has no idea how to colour a picture. She just scribbles all over it. Her eyes suddenly met his, and she coloured slightly.
In my position, I can't afford to let my judgment be coloured by personal feelings.
A large colour TV.
Please ask for our free colour brochure.
Colorant.
Colorant.
Coloration.
Coloration.
Color bar.
Color bar.
Colorblind.
Colorblind.
The law should be colourblind.
Color blocking.
Color blocking.
Color-coded.
Color-coded.
Color coordinated.
Color coordinated.
Coloured.
Colored.
Coloured glass. A cream-coloured sweater.
Colour fast.
Color fast.
Colorful.
Colorful.
A colourful display of flowers.
Colourful costumes.
Charlie Chaplin had a long and colourful career.
Coloring.
Coloring.
Green food colouring. A children's colouring competition.
Mandy has her mother's fair colouring.
Coloring book.
Coloring book.
Colorist.
Colorist.
Colorless.
Colorless.
A colourless, odourless gas. His colourless personality.
Color scheme.
Color scheme.
Color supplement.
Color supplement.
Colt.
Colt.
A Colt 45. Our Colts team.
Column.
Column.
Add up the numbers in each column.
A column of figures. He writes a weekly column for the Times.
Turn to page 5, column 2.
The Sun devoted 10 column inches to the event.
A column of smoke.
A column of marching men.
Columnist.
Columnist.
Calm.
Coma.
He
Coma.
went into a coma and died soon afterwards.
Comatose.
Comatose.
Comb.
Comb.
Combat.
Combat.
Corporal Gearson was killed in combat.
We flew over 200 combat missions. Training in unarmed combat.
She always wore combats, which were more fashionable than jeans. To combat inflation, the government raised interest rates.
New strategies for combating terrorism.
Combatant.
Combatant.
Combat fatigue.
Combat fatigue.
These treatment methods enabled 80% of combat fatigue-affected troops to return to duty.
Combative.
Combative.
Congress is in a combative mood.
Combi.
Combi. The new Combi can be used either as a passenger plane or for transporting freight.
Combination.
Combination.
A combination of factors may be responsible for the increase in cancer.
A combination of tact and authority was needed to deal with the situation.
Certain combinations of sounds are not possible in English.
Some drugs which are safe when taken separately are lethal in combination.
A combination nightclub and cafe.
New combination drug therapies.
Combination lock.
Combination lock.
Combination oven.
Combination oven.
Combine.
Combine.
Augustine was later to combine elements of this philosophy with the teachings of Christianity.
Diets are most effective when combined with exercise. A number of factors have combined to create this difficult situation.
Ruth hesitated, uncertain of how to combine honesty and diplomacy in her answer.
The combined effects of the war and the drought resulted in famine.
Good carpet wool needs to combine softness with strength.
Different amino acids combine to form proteins. Different amino acids combine to form proteins.
Combine all the ingredients in a large bowl.
Steel is produced by combining iron with carbon.
Many people enjoy combining a holiday with learning a new skill.
The problems facing women who wish to combine a career and family. The problems facing women who wish to combine a career and family.
10 British and French companies combined to form the Channel Tunnel Group. 10 British and French companies combined to form the Channel Tunnel Group.
University zoologists and government vets are combining forces to investigate the disease.
The factory was sold to a British combine after the war.
Combined.
Combined.
Dinner was a combined effort.
Her records have sold a combined total of 14 million copies. Her records have sold a combined total of 14 million copies.
We could only afford a small flat, even on our combined salaries.
Combining form. Combining form.
Combo.
Combo.
He played trumpet professionally in a jazz combo.
I chose the vegetarian combo.
Comb over. Comb over.
Combustible.
Combustible.
Combustion.
Combustion.
Combustion chamber. Combustion chamber.
Come.
Come.
Let me know when they come. Can you come here for a minute?
Come a bit closer and you'll be able to see better.
What time will you be coming home?
There was a knock on the door, and a young woman came into the room. I could see a figure coming towards me. I could see a figure coming towards me.
As they came down the track, the car skidded.
I've come to see Philip.
I'll come and help you move the rest of the boxes. Come and look at this. Jess came flying round the corner and banged straight into me.
What day are your folks coming to dinner?
Ah, here comes the bus at last.
We're going for a drink this evening. Would you like to come?
I asked Rosie if she'd like to come with us.
It should be good fun. Why don't you come along? Which way did you come?
They came over the mountains in the north.
Legend has it that the tribe came from across the Pacific Ocean. Legend has it that the tribe came from across the Pacific Ocean. Legend has it that the tribe came from across the Pacific Ocean.
Will you be coming by train?
Have you come far today?
I've come a long way to see you.
Some of the birds have come thousands of miles to winter here.
A letter came for you this morning.
The phone bill hasn't come yet.
At last, the day came for us to set off.
The moment had come for me to break the news to her.
The time will come when you'll thank me for this.
Christmas seems to come earlier every year.
The most exciting part is yet to come.
I knew he'd be able to take care of himself, come what may.
She had blonde hair which came down to her waist.
The water came up as far as my chest. The water came up as far as my chest. This particular sofa comes in 4 different colours. This particular sofa comes in 4 different colours.
Cats come in many shapes and sizes. The computer comes complete with software and games.
P comes before Q in the alphabet.
She came first in the 200 metres.
His shoelace had come undone.
The rope came loose.
He came to think of Italy as his home.
I came to believe that he was innocent after all.
Can you tell me how the body came to be discovered?
I often wondered how I came to be living in such a place.
The students can come and go as they please. The students can come and go as they please.
The pain comes and goes.
We just take each year as it comes. We just take each year as it comes.
He takes life as it comes.
I do feel sorry for him, but I'm afraid he had it coming.
My Uncle Walter is as obstinate as they come. My Uncle Walter is as obstinate as they come. This is a moment that will be remembered and celebrated for years to come.
In years to come, some of the practices we take for granted now will seem quite barbaric.
Computer technology has come a long way since the 1970s.
The decision came as a great relief to us all.
The news will come as no surprise to his colleagues.
Public speaking does not come easily to most people.
Writing came naturally to her, even as a child.
He'll inherit the money when he comes of age.
Space technology didn't really come of age until the 1950s.
You came right out and told him? I don't know how you dared.
I don't know whether I'm coming or going this week.
I think you should come clean about where you were last night.
Don't worry, it'll all come right in the end.
It came to pass that they had a son.
She tapped timidly on the door. "Come in," boomed a deep voice from inside.
How come you've ended up here?
Last I heard, she was teaching in Mexico. How come?
Come to think of it, George did seem a bit depressed yesterday. Come to think of it, George did seem a bit depressed yesterday.
He had never expected to have a wife, or even a girlfriend, come to that.
Come spring, you'll have plenty of colour in the garden. Come spring, you'll have plenty of colour in the garden.
Don't come the poor struggling artist with me, you're just lazy.
The opportunity to get into computing came about quite by accident. How did this situation come about?
I came across an old diary in her desk.
I'd never come across anyone quite like her before.
We've come across a few problems that need resolving.
Your point really came across at the meeting. He comes across as a very intelligent, sensitive man.
She sometimes comes across as being rather arrogant. I don't think I came across very well in the interview. I hoped he might come across with a few facts. I hoped he might come across with a few facts.
She was terrified that Trevor would come after her. She was terrified that Trevor would come after her. He opened the oven door to see how the food was coming along.
Your English is coming along really well.
A bus should come along any minute now.
Take any job opportunity that comes along.
We're going into town. Do you want to come along?
You go on ahead. I'll come along later.
Come along. We're all waiting for you.
Come along, don't give up yet.
I picked the magazine up, and it came apart in my hands. She felt as if her life was coming apart at the seams.
I'll come around later and see how you are.
Why don't you come round for lunch?
I'll come around later and see how you are.
Why don't you come round for lunch?
It took him a while to come around to the idea.
Don't worry, she'll come round eventually.
By the time the summer came around, Kelly was feeling much better.
When she came around, her mother was sitting by her bed. When she came around, her mother was sitting by her bed.
You might feel a little sick when you come around from the anesthetic.
Suddenly he came at me with a knife.
Questions were coming at me from all directions.
We need to come at the problem from a different angle.
One of the wires in the plug had come away.
I turned some of the pages, and they came away in my hand.
We came away thinking that we had done quite well.
I came away with the impression that the school was very well run.
My mother was scared that if I left home I'd never come back.
Ginny's left me, and there's nothing I can do to persuade her to come back.
Who'd have thought hippie gear would ever come back?
High heels are coming back into fashion.
The pain in her arm came back again.
It took a while for my confidence to come back.
As I walked the city streets, the memories came flooding back.
I can't think of her name at the moment, but it'll come back to me.
He came back at me immediately, accusing me of being a liar.
When you come before the judge, it's best to tell the truth. The case will come before the courts next month.
Nothing will ever come between us now. I didn't want to come between a husband and wife. She never let anything come between her and her work.
How did you come by these pictures?
Jobs were hard to come by.
He said he'd come by later. He said he'd come by later.
I'll come by the house and get my stuff later, okay?
It looks as if interest rates will come down again this month.
He's asking £5,000, but he may be willing to come down to 4,800.
Why don't you come down for the weekend sometime? Why don't you come down for the weekend sometime?
Are you coming down to Knoxville for Christmas?
A lot of trees came down in the storm. A lot of trees came down in the storm.
We were still out in the fields when the rain started coming down. The committee came down in favour of making the information public.
He was on a real high all last week, and he's only just come down.
When I came down, I remembered with horror some of the things I'd said.
We need to come down hard on young offenders.
I made the mistake of answering back, and she came down on me like a ton of bricks.
It all comes down to money in the end.
The text which has come down to us is only a fragment of the original.
I think I'm coming down with a cold.
I'll come for you at about 8 o'clock.
Members of the secret police came for him in the middle of the night.
So far, only one candidate has come forward.
The police appealed for witnesses to come forward with information.
I come from London originally.
A lot of drugs come from quite common plants.
My information comes from a very reputable source.
The idea came from America.
Most of her problems come from expecting too much of people.
You think I'm too selfish? That's rich coming from you. You think I'm too selfish? That's rich coming from you.
I see where you're coming from now.
What time does your train come in?
We come into Heathrow at 9 in the morning.
Reports are coming in of a massive earthquake in Mexico.
We haven't got enough money coming in.
We need some financial advice. That's where Kate comes in.
You had the chance to come in on the deal.
Can I come in here and add something to what you're saying?
Trainers really became popular in the 1980s when casual sportswear came in.
His horse came in second to last.
The government has come in for fierce criticism over its handling of this affair.
She'll come into quite a lot of money when her father dies.
Josie doesn't come into the movie until quite near the end.
Where do I come into all this?
The mountains were just coming into view. The roses are just coming into flower.
Money doesn't really come into it.
On icy roads, a four-wheel drive vehicle really comes into its own.
I did ask a few questions, but nothing came of it.
That's what comes of not practicing. You've forgotten everything.
The label had come off, so there was no way of knowing what was on the disc.
Dyson came off his bike as he rounded the last corner, but wasn't badly hurt.
In the end, the trip never came off.
It was a good idea, but it didn't quite come off.
The performance on the first night came off pretty well.
It wasn't until I tried to come off the pills that I realized I was addicted.
As far as pensions go, it's still women who come off worst.
Oh, come off it. You can't seriously be saying you knew nothing about this.
Come on, we'll be late.
Come on, you can do it.
Come on, cheer up.
Oh, come on, don't lie.
Come on then, hit me.
Come on in. I've made some coffee.
A dog started barking, and lights came on in the house.
I can feel a headache coming on.
Just at that moment, the news came on.
The rain came on just before lunchtime.
He scored only 2 minutes after he'd come on.
The children are really coming on now.
Your English is coming on really well.
We came on a group of students having a picnic. We came on a group of students having a picnic.
I'll come on to this question in a few moments.
The way she was coming on to Jack. I'm amazed he managed to get out alive. The way she was coming on to Jack. I'm amazed he managed to get out alive.
These stains will never come out. These stains will never come out.
No doubt the truth will come out one day.
It's come out that several ministers received payments from the company.
I took some photographs, but they didn't come out. The wedding photos have come out really well.
When is the new edition coming out?
I've made a cake, but it hasn't come out very well.
The cover has come out a bit too big.
His words came out as little more than a whisper.
That didn't come out the way I meant it to.
I tried to explain everything to her, but it came out all wrong.
The more experienced team came out on top.
She came out of the divorce quite well.
His right-wing opinions come out quite strongly in his later writings.
The board of directors has come out in favour of a merger.
Teachers have come out against the proposed changes. Teachers have come out against the proposed changes. At least he's got the courage to come out and say what he thinks.
The sky cleared and the sun came out.
The snowdrops were just starting to come out.
That summer, I decided to come out to my parents.
Nurses have threatened to come out in support of their pay claim. Nurses have threatened to come out in support of their pay claim. We decided to come out on strike.
The whole trip including fares comes out at $900.
If I eat eggs, I come out in a rash.
There are signs that the country is coming out of recession. 1 or 2 excellent ideas came out of the meeting.
Penny's really come out of herself since she started that course. Penny's really come out of herself since she started that course.
The things he comes out with are so funny. The things he comes out with are so funny.
Do you want to come over on Friday evening?
When did your family first come over to America?
A wave of sleepiness came over me.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what came over me.
I thought that the points he was making came over quite clearly.
He didn't come over very well in the interview.
She comes over as a very efficient businesswoman.
We're still waiting for our exam results to come through. We're still waiting for our exam results to come through.
There is news just coming through of an explosion in a chemical factory. There is news just coming through of an explosion in a chemical factory.
I'm still waiting for my divorce to come through.
If he comes through the operation okay, he should be back to normal within a month.
It's been a tough time, but I'm sure you'll come through and be all the wiser for it. Our representative in Hong Kong finally came through with the figures.
We came to the conclusion that there was no other way back to the camp.
If they don't come to a decision by midnight, the talks will be abandoned.
The train came to a stop just yards from the barrier.
After the election, our funding came to an abrupt halt.
I never thought it would come to this.
We need to be prepared to fight, but hopefully it won't come to that.
All those years of studying, and in the end it all came to nothing.
It's come to something when I'm not allowed to express an opinion in my own house. That comes to £23.50.
The bill came to £48.50.
The answer came to me in a flash.
I've forgotten her name, but maybe it'll come to me later.
When he came to, he was lying on the floor with his hands tied behind his back. When he came to, he was lying on the floor with his hands tied behind his back.
He's a bit of an expert when it comes to computers. He's a bit of an expert when it comes to computers.
The government has come under attack from opposition leaders over proposals to cut health spending. The government has come under attack from opposition leaders over proposals to cut health spending.
The organization comes under the authority of the EU. The organization comes under the authority of the EU.
The proposals come under 3 main headings.
One of the teachers came up and started talking to me.
A man came up to him and asked for a light.
Why don't you come up to New York for the weekend?
His name came up in the conversation.
The subject of salaries didn't come up.
I'm afraid I'll have to cancel our date. Something's come up.
The same problems come up every time.
A vacancy has come up in the accounts department.
Your case comes up next week.
With Christmas coming up, few people have much money to spare.
It was 6 o'clock, and the sun was just coming up. It was 6 o'clock, and the sun was just coming up.
The first spring bulbs are just coming up. 2 martinis, please. Coming up.
We may find we come up against quite a lot of opposition from local people.
You've got no idea of what you're going to come up against.
This matter will come up for discussion at next month's meeting.
The regulations come up for review in April. The regulations come up for review in April.
The governors come up for re-election next year.
We came upon a cottage just on the edge of the wood. We came upon a cottage just on the edge of the wood.
A wave of tiredness came upon her.
This doesn't come up to the standard of your usual work. This doesn't come up to the standard of your usual work.
The resort certainly failed to come up to expectations.
It's just coming up to 11 o'clock.
Is that the best excuse you can come up with? Is that the best excuse you can come up with?
We've been asked to come up with some new ideas.
We wanted to buy the house, but we couldn't come up with the cash.
How am I supposed to come up with $10,000?